Hey everybody, welcome to the broadcast here tonight. Sorry about last week. My computer crashed in the 2 minutes into the broadcast, so I do apologize for that. By the time I got it back up, it was way too late into it. So apologize for that, but we're going to definitely dive into it tonight. So what we're talking about is Social Security and things that you need to know. And you may be thinking, well, I'm too far away from Social Security or whatever it may be, but that's not true. Regardless of your age, you need to know these facts and you need to know what we're going to talk about because it impacts everybody. And you need to plan for it now into your plan. It needs to be accounted for because it definitely has an impact. So we're going to get into it a little bit deeper as we go through, but hit me up with a hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching this live or you're watching it later on a replay. At the end of this session, I'm going to ask for you guys to put another comment in there and have a special offer for you guys that you hopefully will be excited about that you'll be able to utilize. So welcome to all those that have been with our group for a while. Welcome back. Welcome all our new members. If you're a new member, you can certainly go back and watch some of our old videos and broadcast. They're out there on the video sections. You can go into the guide section of the page and look, find all these different documents and whatnot, resources that I've been putting out there. If you can't find the videos easily on the Facebook group page, you can always go out to the YouTube page, my YouTube page and for RetireWise, and they're all posted out there as well under the Christian Families Financial Education. So let's dive in. Social Security. Notice I'm going to share a document here. I'm going to go put this up here real quick. I'm not going to share the whole time, but I want to show you a few things right out of the gate. So what I want to bring your attention to here, maximize Social Security, right? Most people think that Social Security is what it is. There's not much to do with it, right? But you can actually increase your retirement value up to $100,000 by optimizing your Social Security. You can optimize Social Security. That sounds kind of crazy, but there's ways to do it. So let's be good stewards of our money. Let's be good stewards of what God's provisioned with us, but also let's take advantage of what the government has laid out and what you've been paying into this whole time. So part of being a good steward of your money is being wise with your money, understanding the ins and outs, utilizing it properly. So the goal would be for us to all be ready for God's call. And if we're financially free or freer in the ability to do what he's calling us to do, in God's will, then makes it easier on us. So being a good steward helps enable that, right? We talked a lot about it, but about the different verses, about God talking about money. There's over 2,000 of them. He wants us to be good stewards. He gives us money. He gives us that mechanism so we can carry out his will. So let's be good stewards of it. Let's dive into this and learn what we can do. So that sounds like a lot, $100,000 by optimizing your Social Security. That's not all at one time. They're not going to send you a check for $100,000, but over the lifetime span of receiving Social Security, right? So don't let unclear information about Social Security stop you from making a smart decision. I'm going to tell you right now that Social Security cannot give you any recommendations. They cannot counsel you, and they cannot guide you. The Social Security Administration is actually not allowed to. The only thing that they can do is answer factual questions with facts about what you, like when you can file, that kind of stuff, and how to, meaning how to physically do it, not actually make recommendations. So you need some guidance in that areas. And Social Security up to the full retirement age can play a big role in your retirement plan. While it's not going to fully fund your retirement, you got to know the ins and outs of it, right? You definitely got to know about it. So we're going to talk about that a little bit here today. So, Social Security or full retirement age right now is 67 if you were born in 1960 or later. Prior to that, you can see on the screen there the different ages. So for majority of us, we're at 67. There are still some that are at 66 or even 65. But people may also be saying, well, Social Security is going to be going away, and it's really not. I think we mentioned that in another video. They're going to have to do something with it. It's set to go insolvent, I believe, around 2033, 2034, depending on what study you look at. But it's not going to go away. There may be reduced benefits. They may change how people are paying into it, how much we pay into it on the front end. But they really have to do something about it. They know it's a staple. We all been paying into it, so don't worry about that side of it. You need to plan for it. It makes it even more important to optimize, right? So I'm going to stop sharing. I may come back and share this screen again with you a little bit later, but let me just dive through some of this stuff. So how your Social Security benefits are earned. I'm not going to get into a ton of details on each of these. And you can hit me up if you have specific questions, but I want to highlight a few things. So you have to have 40 credits throughout your career. You get 4 credits, up to 4 credits a year. So it could take up to 10 years of working, to get that 40 credits. And the Social Security is calculated based off of 35 calendar years of working. They take your top 35 years of earnings to come up with the calculation. So there is a calculation that goes into how much your Social Security benefit can be. You can go check out what you're currently slated to be. If you go out to the Social Security website, you can sign up. It's a secure site. They have all the authentications and whatnot on there. You can sign up to where you can go on at any time and pull your Social Security statement and see what the projections are for you at the different ages and what your benefit would be. I'm going to talk a little bit about that more in a minute as far as the different ages go. Okay. So one of the other things that most people don't really, and there's a top end, by the way, there's a top end cap. The calculation only goes up to a certain amount, right? In the last couple of years, the monthly benefit for someone filing at full retirement age at 67 was about $3,113, and those retiring at age 70 or taking the benefit at age 70, the max amount was about 3,800 or close to 3,900. So there is a max to it. It's just not endless. But one thing you need to be very, very aware of is the income that you can actually be taxed on your Social Security benefits, right? It's called provisional income. And I'm just going to talk about if you're filing a joint return, but I'll make available to you some information for individuals as well. If you're filing a joint return with your spouse and your combined income is between 32 and 44,000, that's provisional income after you've retired. If you're still bringing in money after you retire, and it's between $32,000 and $44,000 of provisional income, you could be taxed on 50% of your benefit, right? Not a 50% tax bracket, but taxed on 50% of the Social Security benefit that you bring in. If you make more than $44,000 a year in provisional income, they're going to tax you 85% of your benefit. So it's kind of a two-edged sword there, right? You've been paying into these benefits and you've been paying in toward it, but if you continue to make a certain amount of money in retirement, your benefits could be taxed. So you got to be cognizant of that. Remember early on, we talked about the drawdown phase of retirement and how you take your money. This is where it starts playing a big factor, right? Because the way you take money out of your retirement funds and how you earn money in your retirement income could impact your taxes, right? You don't want to pay taxes on your benefits. You want to get all that money back. So you got to be smart about if you're working part-time or you're taking withdrawals out of different accounts, whether you're taking interest and dividends from investments. All that has to factor in. It needs to be planned accordingly so you don't have to pay that extra tax, right? All right. And basically the way they come up with that is when they look at your combined income, how they do it, it's your adjusted gross income. So when you file your tax return, you get to that adjusted gross income. They take that plus any non-taxable interest, plus they take half of your Social Security benefits, actually count toward this calculation as well. That's your combined income. If that combined income is greater than those amounts that I just referenced, that's when the taxes start coming into play, right? So you need to be aware of that so you don't get hit unnecessarily. Social Security does have cost of living adjustments. They just recently had some of the biggest ones they've ever had because of the inflation rate that's been here lately. It's called COLA, the cost of living adjustment. It typically over the years it's been fairly minimal, like 1.3, 1.5, but recently they had a big one because of inflation, and it's all tied off of the consumer price index that's out there that the government publishes. So every year that's looked at, and so your benefits can increase from a cost of living adjustment. And here's a big thing. One way to optimize your Social Security is the longer you wait to claim, the more your benefit. So you're eligible to claim at age 62. That's early withdrawal, but I highly discourage that because you could give up as much as 25 to 30% of your benefit if you take your benefit early at 62. If your full retirement age is 67, then you get 100% of your benefit. If you wait till you're 70, every year between 67 and 70, there's an 8% increase. So you're increasing your benefit. So people would say, well, I want to start making the money up front or make it sooner. What if I don't think I'm going to live, very long? So there is a break-even point. So when you're talking about Social Security optimization, there's a break-even point when it comes to when should you file. That's all part of the optimizations. Not to be blunt, but if you're in poor health, you don't think you're going to live very long, then it may not make sense to wait till you're 70. But for it's not a one size fits all. But for a lot of people, it does make sense. And a lot of people are going to say, well, I can't wait till I'm 70 to retire. Or take benefits. So it doesn't mean you have to wait to retire. It's just wait to when you start claiming benefits. So we want to get your retirement fund set up in a way that if you're going to wait until you're 70, we build what's called a Social Security bridge, and we use other avenues to have your retirement income come in and fund you while you're waiting to file, right? So it's called a Social Security bridge. It can be huge. But like I said, it's not one size fits all. You got to go through the calculations and the practice of figuring out what that optimization really is. But it could make a big difference, right? Now, one thing a lot of people don't realize as well is that there's a Social Security spousal benefit. So say the highest earning payer has a $2,000 benefit and the spouse only has a $500 benefit. You can actually claim a spousal benefit, and that lower claiming person can get 50% of what the higher earner is. So they would get 1,000 instead of 500, but you have to file that way. You have to file as a spousal benefit. The higher earning person also has to file first. And then they have to already be filed and earning Social Security benefits, and then the spouse can come into play. So there's some factors there about how you file and when you file in regards to getting your spousal benefit. There's also a thing called the Social Security earnings test. So if you claim Social Security early, like between 62 and 67, there's a Social Security test. So you will forfeit $1 in benefits for every $2 you make above the limit, which the limit is right around $19,000, right? So if you make more than $19,000 and you're claiming benefits early, then your benefits can be reduced. Now, once you hit full retirement age, say your full retirement age is 67, if you're born after 1960, then that earnings test doesn't apply anymore. You don't forfeit your benefits, you get the full amount. So if you are taking benefits early, which again, I don't really recommend, you got to be aware of that earnings test, right? Because that can reduce your benefits. Like I said, it's not there after you reach your full retirement age. So you got to be aware of that. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things that go into the Social Security, and I think there's like over 1,200 different Social Security rules that come into play. Now, not all of them are going to apply to everybody, but it's just not as simple as, hey, I turn full retirement age and I'm going to retire and I want to start claiming my benefits. Let's take advantage of what's out there. Let's not get hit with the taxes. You've been paying into this, so let's make sure we take full advantage of it. So there is Social Security optimization, believe it or not. And Social Security on average usually only accounts for, it depends on the person, but on average, Social Security accounts for about 35 to 40% of someone's retirement income. The rest of that percentage needs to come from your investments or your retirement plan, and that you've been putting together, whether it's 401ks, IRAs, all these other things that we can do to build up a retirement plan. Social Security generally does not cover anywhere close to 100% of people's needs in retirement. Like I said, 35 to 45 to 30 to 40% on average. Now, when you look at your budget, we talked about budgeting earlier in another video. And when you talk about, well, what am I going to need in retirement? Some people will say, well, it's kind of hard to think about what I'm going to need as a budget in retirement. But you got to back into that number. You really have to know that to figure out what that retirement number is. So yeah, it can be a little hard to do that. But you need to. So you got to think about, well, I still have a house payment. Am I going to have debt? You really want to pay down your debt before you get into retirement, so you don't have all those different bills. You want to lower your bills. But generally, on average, about 75 to 80% of a person's budget needs from their working days is what's needed in retirement. I've seen it go all over the board as low as 50%. I've seen people stay at 100%. It really depends on the lifestyle that you're going to live in retirement, what you want to do in retirement. Are you going to travel, or are you just going to serve? I shouldn't say just. Are you going to serve? What are you going to do? That goes back to the well-being in retirement and having a purpose. That's a whole nother video. I put a few things out there on the YouTube channel about that, about having a purpose in your retirement. So all that is factors that go into coming up with that total retirement number. And Social Security is a big part of that. So a lot of people overlook Social Security, as far as I think it's just pretty straightforward, but let it work for you. Let's get it, let that be optimized for you. Let's not leave money on the table. You've been paying into it, and let's get your hard-earned money back in your pocket, right? So with that, everybody needs to plan for all these things, whether it's the amount that you think you're going to get, the taxes that are potentially there, filing age, are you going to need a Social Security bridge? All that needs to come into play. It needs to be factored into your plan while you're planning now, because Social Security is definitely going to be a part of that, right? So what a special offer, what I wanted to offer out to everybody, if you make a comment in the comments below of the video, if you put out there, just put Social Security, right? Just put Social Security or hashtag Social Security, either way. Put that in the comments, and I'll reach out to you. If I don't have your email address, I'll direct message you. And what I'll do is I'll make available to you, a document that kind of lays out in more detail what we just talked about, so you have a hard copy of it. But the other thing to that is, for the first 5 people that put that in the comments, Social Security, I'm going to also offer you a Social Security optimization session. It's totally free of charge, where we'll sit down, I can do it over virtually, and we'll come up with your Social Security optimization, and I'll show you the break-even points, the filing ages, all those kind of things, and I'll actually give you a report. So that's for the first 5 people that make a comment in the comment section. As many people as possible can make comments. Everybody that makes a comment with Social Security in the comment section will get a copy of the document of things that I covered here tonight, and we'll give you a little more details. But the first 5 people that put it in will actually get a free Social Security optimization session, and you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So guys, fantastic topic. Most people don't think about it, how complex it is. Hit me up if you have any questions. Email me, DM me, whatever it may be. Schedule a session with me. My calendar's out there. Happy to answer any questions and talk through it. Hopefully you're one of the first 5 that get the session, because that's going to answer a lot of questions for you as well. So exciting stuff. This all needs to be part of your plan. Also, as we continue on through the different sessions, if you guys have certain topics that you're just dying to hear about, or you want to go deeper into, I have a ton of topics to talk about, but DM me or put it in the comments or post it out there. It's the things that you guys want to talk about, and I'll see if I can't wrap that into the sessions. So I hope you found this beneficial. Hope you learned a little bit about Social Security. There's probably some things there you didn't know about. If you want to copy the document, again, put Social Security in the comments. First 5 people also, in addition to that, get a Social Security optimization report. We'll have a session with you. So that's it for tonight. Hit me up if you have any questions. Check out the YouTube channel if you haven't already. You want to go back to those past videos. Let me know if this is beneficial. If, like I say, if you need more information or want to talk about it more, message me or set up an appointment on the calendar. I appreciate it, guys. Have a fantastic evening and the rest of the week, and we will see you next week. Take care, you guys.